The truth about GLP-1s, loose skin, and what nobody tells you. And I'm also going to give you the down low on everything that I've experienced with loose skin after losing 80 pounds on a GLP-1. A lot of the times when you hear loose skin being talked about after a GLP-1 weight loss, you see people who have never needed to lose weight sharing memes and other untruths about why people have loose skin, whether or not it derives from a GLP-1 or GLP-1 usage, and just why it happens in general. There are a few factors that go into whether or not you are someone who is going to have a lot of loose skin or someone who is just going to bounce right back after weight loss. And those factors have to do with your age, your skin elasticity. It has to do with your genetics. Some people just have really good genetics and they bounce back after pregnancy, after weight loss, everything. It also has to do with how much weight you actually lost, how quickly you lost the weight, how long were you overweight. There are so many factors that go into this, but you know one factor that has nothing to do with it, despite what everyone says, using a GLP-1. So things like your age, of course, the younger you are, the more elasticity your skin has, and that is something that you'll be more likely to bounce back from. Then you also have, were you 200 pounds overweight or were you 30 pounds overweight? Your skin has memory, and if it was stretched out for a really long time at 200 pounds overweight, then you're more than likely going to have a lot of loose skin once you are finished losing weight. And let me just preface this entire episode with saying having loose skin is not a reason to not lose the weight and not to become the healthiest version of yourself that you can be. So I don't want anyone thinking that that's what this is about. I am just wanting to let you guys know my experience with loose skin and why it happens and what you can do about it. So one of the questions I get asked a lot is, aren't you worried about loose skin? And I was never worried about loose skin. I was worried about dying from diabetes. I was worried about not fitting into clothes. I was worried about my high blood pressure. Loose skin was the last thing on my mind. And to be honest, the way that I saw it, I was like, I can get that shit cut off. The first myth I want to dispel about loose skin is the fact that it is something that happens only with a GLP-1. And most of us know that that is not true. Loose skin happens with bariatric surgery. It will happen in a calorie deficit. It will happen no matter how you lose the weight. If you are someone who is going to have loose skin anyway, it doesn't matter if you used a GLP-1. So let's just get that out of the way. Anytime you have rapid weight loss, the loose skin is not going to have as much time to kind of catch up as you go. There are some things that you can do that will help with loose skin, but if you lost a lot of weight, the chances are that these things aren't going to be enough. And if you are someone who thinks that you're going to be like super bothered by the loose skin, it might be a good plan for you to start saving for those surgeries after you're finished losing weight. And I have had an abdominoplasty, so I've had the loose skin cut off of my stomach, and it was the best decision that I've made. And I don't regret any of it. I'm so glad that I did it because my confidence level, the clothes that I can wear, I just have so much more love for my body at 40 years old than I did in my 20s. And had I not had that surgery, I'm not sure that I would feel the same way. So for me, that surgery was worth every penny, and I would do it all over again. Building muscle can help with loose skin. However, if you have a lot of loose skin, there is no amount of muscle that is sustainable, probably long term, that is going to just get rid of it completely. For instance, I still have loose skin in my arms. I probably should have wore short sleeves for this episode. And building muscle in my arms has made it look like it is less. And by that, it just means that my muscle is filling out my arms a little more. My arms are getting bigger, so it's filling into that loose skin. But my arms are never going to be as big as they were when I was 220 some pounds. I will always probably have loose skin on my arms. And if you have seen my arms, you know that I am tattooed. So I don't feel like getting the surgery on my arms is something that I should do because it would mess up all my tattoos. And I think that that would look worse probably than the loose skin because it's not that bad. I also have loose skin on the insides of my legs. And that is something that I have considered maybe eventually someday having a surgery to remove that loose skin. But at the same time, it doesn't bother me that much. So I don't know that that's something that I'll do. It's just a decision I may make in the future. But right now, I'm leaning toward no more cosmetic surgeries. So that's where I'm at. My abdominoplasty, that was like a must have for me after I lost the weight, and I would do it over again. And if you can figure out how to budget for that, I would recommend it to anyone after a major weight loss. So those are kind of the surgical options. Building muscle is an option, but you can't really build muscle to fill out skin in your stomach. You can, but it's not going to take up for the 200 and some pounds that you lost, or 100 some pounds that you've lost, or in my case 80. So those are just things that is part of this journey. And it is emotional. There's an emotional aspect to all of this. Your loose skin, after you've put in so much hard work, you can look at your body and just be like, I'm still not where I want to be. And I did the work. I lost the weight. And that's tough. That is a mental battle that I feel like a lot of people are struggling with after they get into maintenance. When they're on this medication or any type of weight loss, they get into maintenance, and then you realize that you still don't love your body the way that you want to. And that's why I think if you can afford to budget for these surgeries, or you can afford to do maybe one of them, the one that bothers you the most, kind of like I did, it doesn't just change things for you physically. It is going to help your mental health and just how you feel about yourself. And let me also say that your worth is not tied up in how much loose skin you have. Your worth has nothing to do with, whether or not your arms flap when you wave. And I think that that's something too, that society just kind of sets these unrealistic expectations. We've all, if you've been on a weight loss journey, you've had a past, you've had things happen, and your loose skin can kind of be a badge of honor too, if you want to look at it that way, because it is basically a visual representation of the hard work that you put in over the past year, over the past 2 years. So you can look at that skin and be like, dude, this is a trophy. And some people do that. They can embrace that. And I love that. There's also, certain leggings, certain pants, things like that, certain shapewears that you can buy to wear. So there are so many options in dealing with the loose skin, but I think that we need to be realistic in the fact that the loose skin is going to exist after any major weight loss. Some of the rudest comments that I probably get on my social media is after someone sees a before and after picture of me, which I can put one up here or here somewhere in this video. And for those of you who may be new to my channel, I'll put that up there. But people will see the before and after of me and make comments about, ew, I bet she has horrible loose skin. I bet that's disgusting. Or they'll say, that's not really her. There's no loose skin. Like, you can't have surgery. But I think that the comments like that kind of deter people from sharing their journey. They get in people's head about just the unrealistic beauty standards that society has, and that it's hard to reach, even if you do put in the work, even if you do lose the weight. So it goes to show that there are always going to be people out there that are haters. There are always going to be people out there that are, ugly on the inside. They're accusing us of being ugly on the outside, but I would much rather have loose skin that they consider ugly on the outside than to be ugly on the inside, like the people making the comments. But all that being said, there are two options. You can either choose to accept your loose skin. You can embrace it as part of your journey, see it as a badge of honor, a trophy, whatever that looks like to you. Or you can choose to change it and use the resources that you have to do that. If it's only a little bit of loose skin, maybe you get in the gym. Maybe there are some collagen products that can help a little bit, but when you've lost a lot of weight, most of those products are probably not going to be efficient for the amount of skin we have after major weight loss. Surgery is going to be your best option if you just cannot live with the loose skin. Loose skin is normal, it is common, and it's expected with any major weight loss. I have pretty much embraced my arms and my legs, and I don't feel strongly enough about either part of my body to know that I want a surgery for those yet. However, my stomach was something that I knew that I wouldn't and couldn't embrace, and that's how I knew that I needed to have that surgery. And again, it was a good decision. I'm so glad I did it, and it has improved my confidence 100 times over. I would say 6 months ago or so, there was someone that I knew pretty well who shared this meme of loose skin and he's a trainer, and he was making fun of people who were on Ozempic and were going to have all this loose skin. And I think it was a Family Guy meme or something. And I just remember thinking, like, how can you be a personal trainer knowing that you are trying to help people lose weight and be healthier, but then you're making fun of the people who did it? And it's stuff like that that I can't stand for, and I won't stand for. Like, I immediately deleted that person, and it's just ugly, like it's sad, especially coming from someone in the fitness industry. And I really think that fitness people embracing GLP-1s as a tool in their toolbox is something that's going to have to happen in the future. And I think that is an entirely different episode. I'm going to write that down. But I just want you guys to not let the idea of you having loose skin, when this is all said and done, stop you from being the healthiest version of yourself that you can be. Don't let the idea that you may need a surgery or you may not be able to afford to have the loose skin removed stop you from getting healthier and adding years to your life. And it's going to add quality to your life, even with loose skin. I would love to hear in the comments if you have loose skin, if you're worried about it, if you've had people make comments to you about it. I would just kind of love to hear your all's take, and we can discuss it in the comments. So that is it for today, and I will see you again soon.